So Lotus is no stranger to
I am sorry, but I can't help you with that right now.
Basically, I can't say Lotus in any of this, can I?
It would appear.
I'm sorry, but I can't help you with that right now.
I get the money and it's right on cue. Keep the duffel bag up inside my coupe. Hold a couple racks, tell them I love you. You wanna be a boss, do it like I do. Yeah. Get that money, I'ma flex. I get that money, I'ma flex. I get that money.
So first of all, I'd like to apologise for the GoPro type footage. Unfortunately, our videographer Ben wasn't invited along to the grand tour of the Lotus Emeya, but we still thought you'd like to share our journey. By its own admission, the Emeya gave Lotus an opportunity to get back to its motorsport roots, but also broaden its appeal. After all, not everyone can live a two-seater lifestyle. We had mixed feelings about the Eletre, and it's really hard for people to get their heads around Lotus building a massive 4x4. So, is this, the Emeya, any different? What is it like? How does it make you feel?
We really made a conscious decision when developing the new products for the Lotus range to try and capture the aesthetic, which is the kind of proportion and stance of mid-engine sports cars, which the brand's really been known for in the last 30 years. So it was a very deliberate decision to try and push the cabin forward. This gives you that kind of look of a mid-engine product, and it signifies to the customers something a little bit different. So it tells you that that's the next generation of drivetrain underneath. This is an EV. You clearly can't fit a large IC engine underneath that hood. And it also gives you that kind of driving dynamic sensation of being much more akin to the performance car archetype developed as a mid-engine product. So you sit further forward in car, you're much closer to the wheels themselves. It's much more kind of confidence inspiring how you place the car on the road. So it's both a kind of design signature, I guess, of the Lotus brand, but it's also a functional touch point for really giving us an engaging driver's car as well.
Lotus is no stranger to four-seater cars, with the Lotus Elan Plus 2 in 1967. That was replaced by the Eclat and the Elite. Lotus' experiment with four-seater cars ended in 1992 with the spreadsheet, otherwise known as the Excel. Outside it's got a sculptural, organic appearance. There's lots of ducts and passages for air to pass through the car, just like the Eletre. And of course helps it to push down closer to the road.
We have a kind of concept in terms of how we treat the airflow around the car, which was spearheaded by the Evija. So we have this idea we call porosity, which is really about reducing the frontal area of the vehicle by allowing the air to pass actually through the car, not just be pushed out of the way by it. So conventional kind of low drag aerodynamics is about having a very sort of smooth shape at the front of the car and you just push the air out of the way. But what we have is a series of ducts and holes that pass through the body, which allow the air to pass through the car. And this has the effect of reducing the kind of mass of the product as it's driving down the road. So that aspect of porosity is something really interesting. It's functional. It helps, as I say, kind of manage the airflow. We help to try and balance downforce with that as well. And it gives us very expressive design features, quite bold statements in terms of these holes and these kind of really powerful parts of sculpture, which is unusual for cars in this category. So very much part of the Lotus DNA again.
I'm actually trying to find a way to open the frunk, and I can't see an obvious. Oh, where's that box? It's got this strong, sharp line through the car from nose to tail, like the Esprit.
Cars like the Esprit in our history were extremely iconic, very simplistic in their definition of form, and the Esprit, the Series 1 in particular, it just has one line that encircles the entire car and it actually breaks the section in the body as well. So it sort of divides the mass of the car. And although this car isn't at all a kind of pastiche or a retro-inspired design, we try and have these subtle kind of nods to things from the past. So that one line running nose to tail, which starts as this very sharp section, which is all about aerodynamics, divides the body with that braking section, and then culminates at the rear of the vehicle as a signifier of technology, again with that sort of laser line of light. So it's a reinterpretation or a reinvention of signatures from our past and our heritage.
Lotus is of course renowned for pushing the boundaries when it comes to technology. Does this car do this? Yes, I'd definitely say so. They've also used different cell technology in the battery pack. So it will charge 10 to 80% in 14 minutes using a 400 120 kilowatt charger, which is a world record. Inside, it's pretty similar to the Lotus Eletre, with beautiful Alcantara carbon leather. It feels very premium. They've also ticked that recycling box and have used a lot of recycled textiles from a fashion house. We know this because Lotus sent journalists a podcast prior to the launch in which Colin's son was interviewed, and he said that his mum would be very proud of the interior because she played a key part in the interiors of the cars. So we're driving the R version with tweaked suspension, obviously a lot quicker to 0 to 62. I don't know the times, do you?
Gotta be sub 3 seconds.
Yeah. We just had some time on the Autobahn, so we can put our foot down. And it is very fast. It shares the same architecture and platform as the Lotus Eletre, but it's a lot lower, it's got a lower centre of gravity, and it's a lot more lightweight. So in terms of handling, it's going to be a lot more dynamic, and having driven it for about an hour now, the proof is in the pudding. It's such a more enjoyable drive compared to the Eletre, and it really it's exciting. For me, it's what I think of when I think of old school Lotuses. It's really sharp, agile, light, fast. Oh, coming in hot. Very hot. It's not going anywhere. It's sticky. Coming around that bend at 75 kilometres. Probably could have done it quicker, I reckon.
Yep.
And as well as that, also you've taken inspiration from aviation world, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things we do, it's not just about our performance DNA. We looked at other high performance products. So aviation is a kind of key thing in terms of signifying aerodynamics, and a couple of things on the car. You know, the upper portion of the car itself, the canopy as we call it, is kind of reminiscent from Evija as a kind of major statement as our first EV, where the upper part is almost like a seamless glass bubble, very much inspired by the cockpits from jet fighters. And even on the lifestyle products, we try and graphically signify the same effect. So this car here has a full panoramic roof as well. It's as close as we can get in this type of product to that seamless glass bubble, and graphically it's all blacked out with this area around the cowl as well to again further enhance that cab forward feeling. So that's one nod to aviation, this kind of canopy feeling. And then there are other subtle things. The DRL signature of Lotus, this kind of L-shaped graphic, is actually inspired by the upturned wingtips you see on modern day jet aircraft, and that runs through the range as a different expression. So Evija has that signature subtly inside the headlamps. It's on Emeya R too. Eletre, it's on the hood as a prominent lamp feature, and with Emeya we took it to a next step with these two separated, very technical looking DRLs.
Compared to the Porsche Taycan, you don't sit as low, and it doesn't feel quite as sporty, and it's really noticeable, the switch between first and second gear. It's definitely not as smooth as the Porsche in that respect, but it's got Lotus's active suspension. The brakes feel a little bit grabby at the top end, but actually once you bed in and start to attack the corners, they come into their own. And the R, I believe, is fitted with larger rear ceramic brake discs. The other thing we found was with the infotainment screen, it's fairly responsive. Also, when going through the tunnels, the light would obviously change, so you could see it in the dark, but then when you came out, there was a huge delay between the screen then coming back on again so that you could see it. And it's not angled towards the driver, it's just completely flat with the dash, so when the sun's blazing it's also really hard to see the screen. So the other thing I'd say is, coupled with those digital mirrors, all-round visibility once you get past the B pillar is pretty poor, so it doesn't instill that much confidence when you're joining motorways. I think perhaps if you were to have traditional wing mirrors, that would help a lot. I don't know if you can see, but the rear windscreen's very small. As you say, if you glance round, those rear windows are small as well. My only other slight criticism is that it still torque steers and scrabbles for traction on those front tyres. Ultimately, yes, it's definitely broadening appeal with cars like this and the Eletre. car certainly gets a lot of looks on the road and raises a lot of smiles. And that's what Lotus is about, isn't it? It's an emotive brand, as well as engineering cars that raise the bar. And Lotus is no stranger.
What would you like me to find for you now?
So that is a perfect demonstration of the voice recognition system there. So,
I'm sorry, but I can't help you with that right now.
Off Lotus.
I'm sorry, but I can't help you with that right now.
Sounds like we might be getting a two-seater sports car from Lotus in the near future, do you reckon? What they were saying?
I wouldn't. Yeah.
Cayman sized, I think was what was referenced, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Stop recording.